with the revolution and the changing economic and political state of Egypt, that a lot of people are turning to entrepreneurship as a last resort almost, and so maybe they're not being appreciated enough at their jobs, or not being paid enough, or not getting their education's worth. And so in the long run, do you think that people independently starting up their own businesses versus joining already established organizations could help the country further develop, or do you think in the long run it could hinder because they're not supporting already stabilized organizations?
Okay, I think after the revolution, the internet penetration increased a lot, and that helped a lot of people get into startups and start their own companies, and they read, of course, about other successful stories as well. At the same time, a lot of people got laid off from their companies. So, like I said at the beginning, the stable corporate job suddenly is not as stable as it once was. And I think that's the main shift that happened. Plus, the devaluation, so a lot of things are much more expensive now. If you look at the school fees or even nursery fees, and all this, I doubt if you get even 10, 20,000 pounds a year, you would be able to secure that, So I think a lot of people realize that now, that salaries are low. Maybe I know in the higher levels it's very high, but I believe there's a very big gap from the top management, between the top management and, I would say the middle level employees, And I think that's the problem. If I'm going to work from 9 to 5 every day and take a salary, and I'll also be under financial constraints, and I will not make my family happy, and I cannot travel abroad in summer, and I cannot admit my school, enroll my child to school in the school that I want to get better education, then maybe I should just give it a shot and try, start my company. Especially that I'm seeing other youth who are doing so and are succeeding. I know a lot are failing, but I would take the chance. Of course, because I think I don't see that the salary is adjusted in an accurate way. Relevant to the devaluation. I think the devaluation was very tough, and I don't see the salaries increased in the same level. So I think that's also going to even increase the number of people who want to start their own businesses.
In response to that, I feel like to an extent all of us and a lot of people in this room were talking from a very privileged standpoint, because we do have the financial means, we do have the education, we do have the support and just the general hope to create a better life for ourselves. But there's a huge population of youth in Egypt who don't have the financial means, who don't have enough skills or the access to opportunities, which is also why I feel like we started Shaghan needs to tap into a market that was neglected. So what do you think as a society could we do to help access that youth that is just completely overshadowed by a small percentage of the population who are becoming entrepreneurs and doing better for themselves and creating large amounts of money when there's a huge amount of people that are just,
I think the more startups, the more jobs are being created, and if you look at, the whatever, Uber, Swivel or Careem or Menus or whatever, any of the successful startups, they hire a lot of people, You'd find a startup that has maybe 50, 100, 200, 400 employees, But I also think there's a very, obvious shortage in financing. And even when we speak about microfinancing, if you look at the amount of documents that the bank or whoever needs, the lender is, that they need from someone who still wants to start something, it's too much. And I think that's the key. If you can find a way that you can finance early stage startups with the limited, of course, funding, you can have a small ticket just to get them, just to kick them off. I think it will make a huge difference, because I think it's quite strict now. The number of VCs in Egypt are considerably low. Yes, they invest a lot and they're very active, but there's huge room for more VCs. And not only VCs, I mean, sometimes you don't need the VCs that invest millions of dollars. Sometimes you need companies that will invest maybe $10,000 or, you know, something small just to let someone start his own thing. And I think that will make a huge difference.
Great answer. I definitely feel like we as a society should really work to change the way that things are now in hopes for creating a better future for the youth. Speaking of the youth, I know that we have students here from the Smart Village School, so if you would like, I wanted to open up to you guys for a second if you had any questions that you wanted to ask the panelists.
I've always been interested in fashion, but I thought it was really hard to start my own business, and I wouldn't be able to take control of a whole business and deal with people and have employees. So how did you do it? It's really challenging.
How do I do it? I don't know. But how did I get to it? I mean, I didn't start my company as soon as I graduated. I did my master's, so I got all the education and knowledge and information that I needed. And then I worked in this industry for a very long time. So obviously it's not that I graduated and I decided to just have my own business and just start and not knowing the rules of the game. I learned to be an employee, I learned to be an intern, I learned to be executive, I learned to be a manager, and I grew through it. And when I did, I was ready to then have the experience to know how to manage a business, manage budgets, manage employees, manage a lot of different aspects that you have that are much bigger than just the job itself. So I think it's something that you acquire with experience, with time. I think if you like a specific field, definitely start by an internship or trying it out, because the fashion field is huge. Every time I say I work in fashion, they're like, oh, so you're a designer. Not really. It's not the only job that there is in fashion. There's a lot of different aspects that you can explore, and not necessarily the first one that you're going to try is the one that you want to proceed with. So I would say you have the opportunity probably by the time you start working. Luckily, there will be a lot of fashion businesses in Egypt, a lot of agencies. We're not alone doing this job. There are a lot of local brands that are expanding to becoming actually regional and international brands. So this is exactly what I was saying earlier, that we are somehow paving way for the youth, because there are a lot of people from your generation that are obsessed with fashion and they really want to do something related to art direction or fashion or styling, or it's something new. We didn't have this opportunity when we were younger. So start somewhere and one day you'll be able to manage it. And trust me, there's no point where you say, oh, I can handle this. Every day it's still a challenge. You don't know what to do with employees. You don't know what to do with your payments. You don't know what to do with your expansion, with your strategy. But you learn to adapt, let's say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That would be great.
You got somebody for the internship.
Okay.
So you were talking about gathering business experience earlier before starting your own business in the field where you want to start the business itself. When do you know you're ready? After how many years of experience? What position?
Is it grammar for me, sir?
Either of you.
Okay, so I'll have all my answers.
When do I feel I'm ready?
Yeah.
You don't feel it. you just go in. Really, I think I think I've seen some people, think that when they work at corporates for a while, then they get enough experience, so that means that the more experience they get here, then they're going to succeed there. But it's completely different, and it's false. I think when you, for example, go work at a company, you're limited to one job that you see every day. Yes, you grow and everything, but in this specific job or department. When you run a company, you're doing everything. You're doing the finance, you're doing the, everything, marketing, the sales, the customer service. So you're exposed to so many aspects in the company, so you get a different kind of experience. If your question is that how many years you need to work at a multinational or a big company before you can start your own business, I'd say it's completely different, I'd rather tell you, no, go to an accelerator with your idea, and they will tell you, they'll set the expectations right, and you get to, learn from experiences from other startups that are similar to yours, that's more accurate than going to a corporate because it's completely different.
I'll add a small thing to this. There's no amount of years that you can work that's going to prepare you for this, because you will continue to learn every day. You will continue to promise things that you might not be able to do, but you will learn while doing them. What I would say though is try to at least know that whatever service or whatever product you're offering, you know how to get, because that's the minimum you need. And then of course, as you grow as a business, the requirements from your clients, from your customers, they become more difficult. So obviously you're going to learn as you move forward, but you need to have at least the basics of knowing how to answer to your client, to your customer, to whatever it is. And there is no amount of years that can dictate if that's enough for you or not. You will know when you think you have enough knowledge about your field to go alone and start doing it. But you will continue to learn every single day. I still learn till today, and I think I have so much more to learn still.
But in that case, do you think it's better to do more internships at first, for example, when you're in university to gather more experience, or is it not? Yeah.
I started my first internship when I was 16. My first year of university, I was in AUC before I could travel because I was too young to be left to live abroad. So according to my parents, I stayed in AUC. They forced me to stay in AUC, and I started doing an internship. So in the morning I would go to the classes, and in the afternoon I would go to a media agency, so a communications and media agency, to do an internship. And following that, I think I did around 6 internships. So as they were a lot, and you feel that you're the last part of the chain, but you also learn so much from it. So I feel internships are crucial, and as soon as you can start, I think ambition is what's going to get you through life. So the earlier you start manifesting your ambition, the sooner you're going to reach whatever target you want to set yourself. So I remember because I started very early doing internships, I was working in a multinational fashion company, a very known one called Salvatore Ferragamo, and at the age of 25 I was the youngest manager worldwide, and this is not common in that company, and it's only thanks to all the internships that I did at a very young age that I was able to achieve this. So yes, do start as early as you can.
Thank you.
Do you have any advice on how being patient to be successful? Because I think most of us only see successful people and we don't know how much time and courage it took them, and we're afraid that we're not going to be as successful as them in the right amount of time. So do you have any advice on how being patient and that?
Okay, so I'll answer this and then I'll give it to Omar, because I think this is a very personal question. I think there's not one formula of success. I think we can all succeed in different manners. Don't look at other people, because you're always going to get bumped, because you're never going to have the same exact conditions to have the same exact success like they do. There's so many factors involved. Success can go parallel. You can be successful in one thing, someone else in something else. So make sure that you do not put yourself in comparison, okay? This is the first thing, and there are many, many, many formulas of success. The second part is success is relevant. So what is success? there's always going to be more. If you're an ambitious person, you're never going to stop. And there are days where I wake up genuinely, like yes, today could be a day, and I feel like I'm not excellent, and I want to be excellent. What can I do to be excellent? And then I say, but I'm doing my best. There's nothing more that I can do, and what is excellence? I always use this example, and I say, if my agency was to fail today, I will have succeeded. Because I took the risk, because I started something, because I fed it, and I developed it into something, and that's already a success. The fact that you go after what you want to do, and you challenge yourself, that alone is success. So success is not someone that makes 200,000 pounds a month. Success is not someone in an amazing house. Success can be measured in many different ways. It's your own challenges, and have you succeeded these many challenges that you set for yourself or not?
I agree, and I would like to add that if you're going to live in Egypt, you have to be very patient. I mean, it will take time to close deals, it will take time to get a meeting, it will take time to sell something. I was just complaining that we get a lot of holidays, and that slows down everything, you know, everything you've been doing before the holiday, and then there's the Eid, and then it's like you're going to do everything all over again. But patience is basically you do something, you send a proposal, or you know, have an idea, you have to keep going after it. It can take a year or 2 or 3. Like I have an advertising company. I launched in 2009, and last year was the first year it made profits. So that's patience. Of course, I mismanaged, obviously, but but I still, you know, we have to be patient, and I believed in it, and it started, you know. Like Shagani, it took a lot of years for me to be able to raise funds. It will take a lot of more years to come to reach whatever I want with the website. You know, I want it to be the #1 platform in the region. So I think this will take a lot of time. You have to be patient. You cannot expect results, right now, because some things are out of your hands. But I would say always follow up. Trust me, a lot of sales convert after the maybe 4th or 5th follow-up. I'm good at that. And I think, I think you really need to, because I meet a lot of people who would send a proposal and then disappear, you know. I was like, no, you need to follow up. You need to go out, try to get new connections, try to never give up. You need to have like, what do you call it? Any long line? Yeah. So that's what I call it.
And do you have any advice on how to, as soon as we graduate from college, do you have any advice how to go on to the work world, because it's hard, and like corporate or business, anything?
Yes, I think, like Inji said, you need to, it's a good idea to have some internships, because this will make you more determined, you know. You don't want to be, for example, 30 years old and you still don't know what you want to do with your life. You want to know this, the sooner the better. So that's a very good chance. And a lot of companies accept interns, and they're very interesting internship programs. Some companies even make you go through departments, you know. And I think that's very important, because either you're going to, for example, work at the bank, and then you're going to say, oh yeah, no, that's what I want to do, and now you're set. Or you can do several internships and say, you know, I don't want to work at a company, I want to maybe start my own thing, whatever. But whatever you do, you have to start by internships, because it will keep you more determined and will let you save time. You don't want to be, you know, grow older and time flies, and then suddenly you realize that you've been doing the wrong thing and you want to shift career. Yes, I know it's possible and you can do whatever you want, but I would always say the sooner the better, of course.
I can also answer a little bit of this question, because I recently graduated. I'm not a CEO of a company or anything, but I remember when I graduated college, I knew that I had a lot of passions, but I wanted to sum them all up into one singular career path, and I was struggling to figure out how I was going to do that, because I feel like in general career paths can be very limiting, and you have to pick a career that you're going to do for the rest of your life, or one thing that you're just going to be good at for the rest of your life. So what I did when I was still in college towards the end, I would reach out to people that I was inspired by, or that I wanted to be like, or I was really interested in what they were doing, even if it wasn't what I had studied, or even if I never had an internship in that field before. I would just reach out to them and talk to them on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on whatever. I would just get to know them as people and learn about their industries, and that kind of helped me shape or get an idea of what I wanted to do. So I feel like that made it.
Thank you.
Okay.
I wanted to know more about your experiences abroad, and what advice would you give someone who wants to travel abroad? Was it easy living on your own? Or
Are you asking me?
anyone who's traveled abroad, really?
Okay. I could start off. I know that it was a really big struggle for me at first, because in high school I was really shy. I was always like doing my work. I had my social life, but I was just like really just like keeping to myself and stuff. So it was a really big decision for me to decide that I was going to travel abroad at 17 and start a whole new life all the way across the world. But the biggest piece of advice I can give you is just step completely outside of your comfort zone. You're in a new environment where you don't know anyone and no one knows you, no one knows like who you were before. So it's the perfect opportunity to be the person that you always wanted to be if you weren't that person before. So I would go to events by myself that I wanted to go to. I would sign up for classes of like things that were so interesting to me that I knew nothing about. I would join organizations. I would just put myself out there more and talk to people, because we're in Egypt, everyone around you is Egyptian. So depending on where you choose to go to school, you're gonna interact with so many different people of so many different backgrounds and walks of life that you don't get to experience here in Egypt. So that's the biggest piece of advice. It's definitely hard, or it was for me. Like you experience homesickness, you experience like all the typical struggles that you would in university here. If you have a difficult time with your grades or with friends, you're gonna experience that abroad too, except that you're in a completely foreign environment and you're considered a foreigner. So you're gonna grow a lot as a person though, regardless of all of that. I still have my same friends and stuff from high school, but you really do develop a lot as a person. You develop a lot intellectually, emotionally. You change a lot. So the struggle is definitely worth it in the end.
I agree. I think she said it all, so yeah. It's basically that. It's hard, but it's really worth it.
My question was for Alma, because I understand that you were a graduate of something that you didn't end up working in at all at the end. So I wanted to ask what that's like. Was it hard, like transitioning from one subject that you've been learning for 4 years into something that was quite foreign, I think, or different?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. Okay, so I was not very clever at university, and political science wanted the least GPA. So I couldn't make it to business or computer science or anything, and political science needed 2.0. So that was the best fit for me, you know. So then...
He's a business owner now. He's a business owner. So you're good at that.
So it was very interesting. I love politics, of course, but I picked, of course, business over politics at the end. I thought the chances were limited at that time, and either you'd work at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and you'd be an ambassador or whatever, And when I look at things, I always look at the end, you know. So if at the end I'm going to be an ambassador, then I should think about it. Or a successful businessman, okay, what if I screw up? And what if all this? So I just decided, you know, just graduate. And I did so, and then I started the business. So to be honest, I picked it because it was very reasonable, and it wasn't very strict with the GPA, the grade point average. So don't take me as an example. Like I was a C student. Okay, so I hope that sounds better.
But I think we have something to learn here because both Omar and I were not very good students. But I think you have to excel at school. And if I would go back, I would really focus a little bit more. I think I could have learned a little bit more things that I need today, but I didn't focus on them back then. I'd love to go back to studying because some things I just missed, and I'm like, okay, but am I able to learn that again? So do focus on that, but also don't be disencouraged. Just because studying might not be your thing doesn't mean that you cannot be a completely successful person. Out of everyone in my class, I was the worst. I wasn't even allowed to attend the class. I was always outside, never attended one class, probably starting primary 5. But out of all of them, I'm the only one today that has my own business. So there's two sides to the story, but I will tell you, because I was that person, try to learn as much as you can, because one day you will need it. And I do regret not focusing on specific topics that I might need today.
The rest of my question is just that I have this fear that I might go into college studying something, and then I just have this turn of events and end up wanting to study something completely different or pursue something completely different. So was that hard? Was it like difficult? Did it challenge you more than it should have?
No, not at all. I think as you grow, your interests are different. So, you know, I mean, at the beginning of my, when I started the business, it wasn't Shagani, it was an advertising company. And this company, we used to sell automotive magazines. I was into cars, okay? and then, you know, yes. And then I signed with the Economist group, and I did the Arabic version here for Egypt, and the company started growing, and then the revolution happened, and then all this disappeared. Ashraf knows very well. And then, so I'm saying no. I mean, that's life. You can even start a business, and then you see CEOs of huge companies who've been there for years, and suddenly they step down and start another complete different company, you know. So I think it's not only about what you studied and then what you're going to do next. I think even if what you studied is what you're doing next, I think life always takes you out of the comfort zone, and nothing is forever, you know. Nothing is eternal. So who knows? I mean, you can study maybe computer science, and then after a few years you realize that no, you don't want to do any programming, you want to do something completely different, and you can still do it, you know. So but what I'm saying is that it will happen in your job. Some people, I mean, a while ago, almost everyone I know used to work at, you know, as stockbrokers, okay? Everyone, you know, and it was a boom, and everyone, you name it. And then now everyone is working at real estate, in the real estate market. And I'm sure that soon things will change, and you'll find new jobs being created. And I think, so the same people that were stockbrokers are now work as real estate brokers, and some of them work as something completely different. So it's part of life. I think you're always going to shift. That's my personal opinion. Yeah.
Thank you for your questions, and thank you both for your very insightful and inspiring answers. And thank you all for being so patient and making it to the very end with us today. We've officially concluded our last session. And again, thank you both to Inji and Omar for giving me your time.